Hey everyone, this is Corinne Lafont, your favorite radio host, your only radio host, and favorite girl, of course, broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And you know, I start my show off the same way all the time with gratitude. I am so grateful to be here. I am thankful to be above ground. I am thankful that I have my faculties intact, at least I think so. And just to see the beauty of the world and to still be able to impact people's lives. I am truly, truly honored and grateful. Yes. And I am also grateful to have with me Joanna R. Foster. We'll just call her Joanna today because we are girlfriends today. And we'll be talking about emotional health and fertility. There's a link between the two, the link between emotional health and fertility. And let me tell you a bit about Joanna, and then we go straight into it. So Joanna Foster is a certified master hypnotherapist. She holds a master's degree from New York University in Fine Art and elementary teaching degree from the University of Toronto. She's in Toronto right now. She's a practicing elementary school teacher, has her Reiki 1, 2, and 3, a certificate in energy medicine, and is a certified and recognized practitioner of Seraphic Wisdom. I love that. Joanna is a mother of three. She is the mother of three children, celebrating her 10-year wedding anniversary with her husband this October. Well, that was last month, so they celebrated that. So congratulations. Joanna has worked with people all over the world, that includes you, and loves when a woman she has worked with get pregnant. Isn't that an amazing thing to say? That you love when somebody gets pregnant.
I do.
Yes, welcome, Joanna, to Between the Lines.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Let's learn a little bit about some of the things I shared in your introduction, Seraphic Wisdom, because some people may want to know what that is. What is Reiki? Let me just look back here. So Reiki, energy medicine, hypnotherapy, Seraphic Wisdom. And then how does all that link into what we are talking about?
Sure, yeah. Well, it started for me like a lot of people with Reiki. I feel like that's almost the beginner entryway into learning more about the energy body, their energetic body. The way I see things manifesting in our world, it starts on a spiritual level, and then it'll go to an emotional level, and then a mental level, and then a physical level. So once something becomes a physical symptom, it's because it's already gone through these other layers and they just weren't addressed. So Reiki, when I started with Reiki, I was in my early 20s. I'm almost 40 now.
No, you cannot say that because you look like you're in your 20s. So then you got married at 10. And I don't know when you had those kids. I can't do the maths on that. I think you adopted them as opposed to giving birth. So that explained it. That's the story we are going with. You're 20 now, you got married at 10, and you adopted the kids. Yes.
Yeah. So it was a while ago, and I definitely wasn't, I didn't see my fertility practice or world at all at that time. I was just drawn to learning more about what was around me. And I feel like a lot of people start with Reiki and have their Reiki. And so it started there. And then the next level was the Seraphic Wisdom, and that's angels. And where I stand with that today, I feel like everything that I've learned is a tool. And whether you believe in angels or don't, or what you believe in, it's not actually relevant to the work itself. Really what it comes down to, and maybe I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but when you have something that is an emotional, let's call it trigger, something that happens, it will start to change the chemistry of your body if it's something that you avoid or something that you don't really like or something that makes you uncomfortable. And that's how it can then go into your fertility once it starts to let's get into it in a little bit more depth, because I feel like that's just a very surface explanation. But essentially, energy medicine, there's just so many tools out there right now. And then again, the hypnotherapy, that was my way of almost westernizing what I had learned so that I could access more people's understanding of what it is that I actually do. I was already doing guided meditations, but this formalizes it. There's a system to it. You can get certifications in it. So that's where the therapy came in.
So you have found that those approaches has helped your clients to be able to get pregnant?
I will be completely honest with you. Actually, those approaches have helped people relate to me. What helps me help people get pregnant is when I speak to somebody and start to listen to their emotional triggers, their pain points, and then going to those pain points and through using some of those methods, but there's all kinds of tools out there, removing those pain points. And, you know, there's a few levels to it. Obviously things like getting enough sleep, removing stress, water, healthy fertility diet, which includes certain things and excludes other things. When you start to put all the pieces together, that's when you get into that state where you can conceive. So you know how we always hear, oh, they forgot about it and they finally got pregnant, or they tried and tried and tried and then they went on vacation. I know, and it's such an irritating story for people who it's such an irritating story. But the point isn't the story itself, it's really what we focus on, what we, is what we end up seeing in our lives over and over and over again. And it's how do you manifest? How do you actually create in your day-to-day? You wake up, you have a plan of action, or you don't, and then you react to things, but you have a plan of action. Okay, this is what I'm going to do today. This is how I'm going to think today. These are the steps I'll do towards my goal today. Once you start, doing those, practicing those things, you get in alignment with what it is that you want. But the opposite can be true. You can be in alignment with fighting so hard against what you want that that's what keeps showing up.
That's right. And you mentioned something, and I want to share a bit of a story. I remember years ago, when was that? Would have been around 2001. When I was doing my master's, there was this woman in my class, and she confided in me that she has been trying to get pregnant. And I said, what is going on? I said, that is the problem. You're trying. Stop trying. Just enjoy the sexual act and stop trying, because you're there with your spouse or whoever, and your mind is so focused on it. You yourself preventing it from happening. Just relax and take your mind off of it. Stop trying to focus on, oh, I want to get pregnant. Oh, I want to get pregnant. Oh, I want to get pregnant. No, just relax and enjoy the moment. Not long after that, Joanna, the woman comes back to me and says, Corinne, all ecstatic, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant. I said, you see, I told you, just relax. Don't think about it. Let it go. And just allow for it to happen. And she is so ecstatic. I don't know, since then I haven't seen her because we graduated and all that, and it was in a different country. But I'm telling you, she was so ecstatic just to be pregnant. And she was older too, a mature woman, because for years she was trying, and she was almost at the point of giving up, but she's there. And I'm saying, no, you just enjoy, relax, let it go, stop thinking about it. You're with the man. Stop pressing and trying to get pregnant. Just relax. And it so happened, I don't know if she had more after that, but I know she had a beautiful girl, and she used to come to class, pregnant. So you see the belly, and, I was just there with her, comforting her and encouraging, and you could just see her glowing, So, most of the times, I believe every time, if you really want something, yes, your soul, your energy connects with it, and you just let it go after that. the universe conspires to put everything in place because you have already connected with it on an emotional level. It already worked through, like you said, the different layers, and it is just a matter of time for it to manifest, and it might manifest sooner than you think. Yeah.
So that is all true. One of the things that I come across is really the subconscious mind. The
Yeah.
subconscious mind does actually control 95% of what happens in our life. So our conscious mind, so in a second, our conscious mind will take in 40 pieces of information. Our subconscious mind will take in 11 million.
Oh, Jesus.
So it is what ends up happening, what I see more so, what happens is you do really want a child, but then maybe you grew up around older people around you, like your aunts who are struggling with fertility. So in your mind, you have embedded, getting pregnant is a struggle. And so you have to overcome a belief system, or you think, once I have children, that's it, my identity goes.
Yeah.
So then you have to fight against, I don't want to lose my identity. You have to deal with that aspect. Or excuse me, I know when people get pregnant, their career goes out the window.
Yeah.
Or their spouse stops supporting them, which,
yeah.
And I don't mean financially, I mean, they sort of let you do a lot of the work. All of those things will then come into play. And for some women, it's not that strong a barrier. And for some women, it's an incredibly strong barrier. And it's really, really hard to overcome it, especially if you don't even see it, because it's your subconscious mind. If it were your conscious mind, you would be able to do something about it. It would be in front of you. But sometimes we're not even totally aware of our belief systems and where they came from.
Do you know, Joanna, you're mentioning things I never really thought of. The influence of the external environment on our subconscious in terms of pregnancy, because you're thinking, okay, we are women, it's one of our functions, and that in itself, just by saying that, it's a programming, it is our function. We are supposed to, we are a vessel for giving birth. So that's a pressure by itself. So there are some women who they don't even want to get pregnant because of that pressure. It's expected. Or
100%.
Yeah, that is a pressure. And they may not want to, and one of the reasons they may not want to is because of those same external factors too. They may not get the support. They see what their parents have gone through, they see what their friends' parents have gone through, what they've seen what children are doing in the world. Some people make a decision based on the world, what's happening in the world, and they're like, I am not bringing a child into this. I can't. So there are so many different things. And then there's the other side, like I was sharing with you off air, what I went through in my pregnancy with 2 boys. I developed chloasma in my first pregnancy, which is hyperpigmentation. And so I have 2-tone skin. I was left from my neck up being much darker than the rest of my body. And then in the second pregnancy, from my ankles come straight up to the top of my legs. Half of my legs is dark, which is another set of hyperpigmentation. Thank God I only have 2 and not 3. I don't know where else would have been dark again with a 3rd pregnancy. And your body changes. You can't help that. There's some women, their DNA is made up in such a way their body becomes probably better than before pregnancy. Some people have that, but not all of us have that. And, the change can affect our self-esteem, our self-worth. And then how your spouse or significant other person in your life may also look at you, to make you feel. And you're like, gosh, look at what I've gone through. So after wishing to be pregnant, praying to be pregnant, and then you come now and say, look at what happened to me. How does the universe, the energies deal with that? At first you're wishing and praying, and then you do get it, and then you're complaining.
Yeah, but what I will say about that, especially when we're looking at whether it's a spouse or your partner, or you are going through it on your own, and so it's, let's say it's family members,
Mhm.
if they are reflecting something to you that doesn't feel good, like you're feeling unsupported, like something's going on with, for you in your case, it's your pigmentation. I mean, same with me. I went really almost totally gray. It just, I mean, really, it definitely affects things. But what I will say about that, and the body changes, all of that, is the way that I work with that, because I work with some women who have had a child and they're having second infertility. They're meeting that with the second child, and one's the third child, but that comes up. But even before, really, it's you and I know it. This is a reflection of what we're already feeling inside being mirrored back to us. And so it's an opportunity to say, okay, so I'm getting triggered here. So let me take a moment, maybe with help. So in the case when someone works with me, it's with my help to go in deeper. And one thing I haven't mentioned that I'll mention now is that I have as of 3 years ago, when I was pregnant with my third child, my daughter, I was opened up to an entirely new world in terms of energy. And that's why I do the work that I do. I actually see babies that aren't born yet. And I feel like, and there's this whole thing going on. And so when I'm working with someone, I close my eyes and I start to work with them on an energetic level and feel where the blocks are and around what age that started. Because even if we're 40, 50, 60,
Mm-hmm.
and we're getting, every single time we see our brother and we're angry, that happened before the age of 8.
Yeah.
Maybe a parent said something to make you feel like you weren't enough. It happened a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it always gets brought. And speaking of brainwaves, when you're 8 and younger, it's like you're in a hypnotic state all the time. So if something happens in your world, you know how we say kids are sponges, you literally are a sponge. You're not discerning between, is this real or not real? Someone called me a bad kid. Maybe I actually am a bad kid. You just absorb that in.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is start going back to those pain points, those triggers. And then once that is dealt with, it actually will completely recontextualize your present moment. So I would say that the patriarchal one that we touched on a little bit there, how, unsupported, is how's the workforce going to handle me being pregnant and taking time off for a baby if I decide to take time off for a baby, and where do I fit in after that, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That is so layered. Yeah. And just so everywhere that one is not you deal with a moment in time. That's just really layered. And that kind of takes a long, long time to get through. But you can absolutely get to a point where you are, let's just say you can be in your body. And you can get to know your body a little bit more. So, if you have a feeling in your tummy when you're in a situation or you've eaten a certain food, you recognize it. And what that translates into is that when you're feeling really good in your body, and you've given yourself a lot of love, and I don't just mean, I love you body, but like you're working out a little bit, you're feeding your body, you're choosing well for yourself. You will, and maybe if you're working with someone like me, and I only say that because sometimes we have these blind spots and we don't always see what our blocks are, but when you're in those states, you're really quite open and receptive, and that's when like you said earlier, you're not so focused on, am I going to get pregnant? What's going on with my baby? You're just sort of much more, feeling good and feeling that place of in your body, receptive, open. And yeah, so yes, it can help translate into a pregnancy.
Nice. Now, the thing about it, persons who will be listening to this, whether male or female, because there would be men who want to have children and they may be together with someone who may not be able to have, and they're trying. What do you say to a couple like that? I mean, they would have probably gone through different tests to figure out what's happening. Sometimes people separate because of that.
Yeah.
You know, and I would think honestly, Joanna, these are things that we need to talk about as a couple when we decide we are going down the road of a couple. A man, you know, must be able to say what it is he's looking for. You as a woman must say what you look, because it is not just a matter of, let's call it falling in love, you know, jumping on the white horse, running up into the sunset, and then you realize when you reach by the sunset, I wanted this, you wanted that, and we are not meeting at the same place. These are the things you need to come forward and discuss. I have spoken to guys who are interested in having kids. They may be younger. I step out and I say, listen, you are young, you need to find somebody at this particular age that can provide you with what you need. And as much as they will say, no, it's okay, it's no. Me being a little bit older and wiser and more experienced, I am not going to go down that road with you. And as much as you may be a nice guy, or let's say the reverse, a nice woman, it doesn't matter. You must be able to let this person go, because it's going to be more painful in the end.
Yeah, I what you were just speaking about was being authentic with yourself. I feel like that's a lifelong pursuit, honestly. But what do I say to men who are having or who want children, or who are having their own fertility concerns? You know, again, there's so many things that you can do to help yourself. There's so many herbs, there are so many exercises, there's so many there's just so much that you can do. And one other aspect of it is to look at yourself, you know, your emotions, your beliefs, how is this making you feel? If, you know, that's another aspect of it. If do you have low sperm count? Why do you have low sperm count?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
You know, okay, yes, so maybe your father had low sperm count and grandfather, and maybe it's worse with you. Most likely it's worse because of all the Wi-Fi and so on. I mean, there's so many studies that say it's getting worse and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower by a lot. You know, so okay, so you have low sperm count. Why? What does that trigger in you emotionally? What is it, you know, in another way, what is it doing for you? What is it teaching you? What is it making you feel? And to go there, not just to like try and deal with it medically. I mean, medical IVF, honestly, it's like a shot in the dark sometimes, and they will often not take people if they don't fit these certain requirements. You know, their odds are extremely low. It's great and it's amazing, and I'm thrilled for people that it's there. It's extremely costly, so not everyone can do it. But you know, what I'm saying is that if you're a man and you are dealing with your own infertility, I would absolutely go the medical route, figure it out in that way, and then definitely go the nutrition route, you know, figure out what you can eat and so on, but then also look at the emotional side too. What is it doing to you? And then try and resolve some of that and see if that can alleviate some of it, because sometimes the stress, the cortisol that's in your body is affecting you and what's going on with you.
And sometimes too, Joanna, I know a couple, you know, they were doing all the different tests, everything. Probably low sperm count. No matter what they tried, it wasn't working. And then they decided to separate. And the woman ended up getting pregnant. And, you know, there are times that the man may end up getting the other person the new person that they get involved with. Sometimes it's just not the right connection. It just boils down to that. It may not be a medical, it may not be a nutritional. The connection between the two persons is just not there. You may think that there's a connection, or you're all caught up, you know, it's more lust than than anything else. Because how is it that he may connect with somebody else and that person gets pregnant and she ends up with somebody else and she gets pregnant? You know, it's just it's more than something earthly. It's the energies, it's a number of things. That's, I believe in that spiritual level like you do.
I'm
And
glad you're bringing that up, because when I have been face to face with a client, either Zoom or physically in person, and I will see, you know, I can see what the baby looks like, and they're right there, and I can tell them the haircut, the face, the age, at that time, you know. I feel like if someone really wants a child, it's because there is a child that is wanting to come through. So it, you know, and sometimes, it's not often, but sometimes it might look like an adoption. You know, it may not be physically your baby coming through. Most often it is. And when someone works with me, that's what it is. But, you know, it's just also being open to this idea and concept of family, because really the ultimate goal isn't just to create and procreate. It's actually to have this environment on Earth where humanity feels safe, protected, loved, joyful. You know, where I completely get why in the beginning, why you said, you know, some people don't want to bring children into this. And, you know, to be honest with you, I felt like that growing up. I never wanted to have a child, and it's so much worse now.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But that said, I went ahead and had my family, and the amount of joy that these little people create around them and bring with them, you know, you can create this little bubble, this little community, and then just invite people in and get it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
I like your point. I like your point a while ago about what's the real reason behind being pregnant. It should, you know, what's your reason? Is it that you want to create one of your own kind, you know, procreate, create? Because adoption is an option. And that will come because you want a family. So it all depends on what the two people want. You want to be able to create a unit. You want to have little kids that you can influence, or say you have imparted your knowledge or passed on something to them. Or is it that you just want to have another human being, but it doesn't really matter to you about family? There's so many, you know, I'm talking to you, Joanna, and we take this thing very casual, you know. But now that I'm talking to you, it's so much deeper than just the sexual act, which is another deeper thing by itself. But it's so much more than just saying, okay, let's sleep together, have a child, and boom, this child comes, and you realize the spouse is not as supportive or enthusiastic as he or she said that they would have been. It's just a matter of, yeah, you wanted a child, here it is, boom. You know, you wanted a family, here the child is, go with it. You know, it is so much more deeper, and I think I want persons listening to this to take away so much and to think seriously about being able to bring a child into the world, because it is a serious responsibility. A serious responsibility, not only on you as the parent or the caregiver or the guardian, but to the child.
Right. Yeah? I would say, though, it's a responsibility, because you have to learn how to stay out of their way, and that's way harder said than done.
Yeah,
you know,
stay out of their way. I love that.
Yeah, I'm not saying, of course, you know, you don't want them running across the street and stuff. I've had someone say that to me before, and I was like, of course I don't mean that. You know, you want them physically safe. It's just, they are such teachers. And even in the very beginning, when you are so sleep deprived, and that's real, that is real, when you're sleep deprived and, you know, you haven't fed yourself and all of that, your ability, your will to control your anger, to control your resentment, all towards your partner, not your child. Your child is, you know, perfect. But that all that will really come out. And they are such triggers. And so you have to be ready for the journey of a lifetime.
And it never ends, you know, Joanna. Because once you're a mother, once you're a parent, it never ends. Your child could be 40, 50, and it is still the same. You don't ever become unmothered. It's not like, okay, the contract says when you hit 18 or 20, I am no longer your mother. No, it doesn't work like that. You're forever a mother.
You're making me think of my mother, right?
Yes, yes.
And father.
Yes, yes, yes. It never ends. That little fine print, I'm sure they signed too. That they didn't know they were signing too. It is there. It is there. It is
Definitely.
there. Yes, it is implied. It is a serious responsibility, mental, physical on all levels, spiritual on all levels. It takes a lot out of you. But just like you said, they are here to teach you. The kids are here to teach you. You think you are here to teach them? They are here to teach you. I love that. I love that. But let's come back to you know, in rounding up the emotional health, you know, of a person, because it is all linked. It is all linked. Your emotional health. And this is why now you see a lot of young people having children. They're not ready. They're not ready.
Well, so I don't really know the young people. I tend to work with older people. I don't know the young people and what they're going through, really. I do actually know a younger mom, and I would say that I can't really speak to whether they're ready or not. I know some probably are and some probably aren't. But I would say the same of anyone at any age.
Exactly. I totally agree. Yeah, because there are some people who you would think, you know, I was saying to a friend the other day, it doesn't matter the age of a person. We assume that the age of a person is a certain level of maturity and growth. But you are watching people these days, Joanna, and they're like, are you out of your mind? What are you thinking? What are you doing? How could you say that? Because you're like, at this particular stage and age, you should be, or it is expected, you know, that you should have grown as an individual. And they're behaving as if they're toddlers. And there are some young people that are behaving at 55, at the age of 55 and 60, and they're like, what wisdom is in this child? You know, so it's not, that's a programming in itself too. That paradigm has to shift, this age thing and assuming maturity. Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
But the emotional health piece, so, you know, even if you're young and you're thinking, or even if you're in your mid-30s or even your early 40s, you're thinking maybe one day, whatever age you are, and you're thinking, I might want to have a child, or you're trying right now. The emotional health piece is, I mean, that's what I work on, but I do find that to be critical. So there is, I do really recommend having a system in place, something that is written out that you can follow each day, and something that looks like, you know, I wake up and I go for a little jog or a stretch, you know, focusing on opening the hips, because that tends to be a pretty tight area for women. 2 glasses of water, making sure that you have some kind of a saying or something that you can start to reprogram your mind. It's something that you maybe have written or found that's positive, that resonates with you. And if you don't feel like you're fully there, you can say, I might be ready to have a child, or I am ready, or, you know, I will be, you know, something you can work your way up to. I am a fertile woman. You know, all of it happens for me. You know, you don't have to go straight to that, but it takes 28 days to reprogram the neurons in your, all of the wiring in your brain. So you want to start doing that daily. I appreciate having audio, so I will record my voice. And that's what I did for a couple of years before I had my daughter, was I had a recording that I listened to. And I did that on audio a couple of times a day for that goal, and a lot of other goals too. So it's also this whole piece of just being in alignment with yourself. Yeah. And taking care of yourself. So it's that's the emotional piece, is being in a place where, you know, you are in the habit of doing things for yourself. You're not in the habit of being a martyr, and you're not in the habit of being a victim, and you're not in the habit of feeling excluded from having what everyone else has. You have to get into the habits, and you may not be able to do it or start with fertility. So don't start where you can. If it's in business, start in business. If it's in, you know, your girlfriends, start there. If it, wherever, if it's with animals, wherever your starting point is, start there, focus there, and continue to grow that, because that is what will then start to change your beingness and your emotional health.
I totally agree with that. Start with where you're most comfortable. Don't try to say things that you don't feel, that doesn't resonate as true to you. Start with, you know, baby steps. Coming back to the word baby again. Start with baby steps and build your way up until it becomes a part of your being.
Yeah, I will even say that it's actually even detrimental to say something that you don't believe, because your subconscious mind, the one we talked about earlier, will come and say that's not true, and you know it. And so it'll
it does
force what you really actually believe.
Yeah, it does. It does talk back to you. It will say, really, you don't believe that. Get real. It will. Yeah, it will. I want to share your website here.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at that. So I'm bringing you up on the screen. Get pregnant now, today. not just like now. I mean, today. Get pregnant now. So you better start practicing. Jump in the bed, wherever you want to do it. Start now. That's really what she's saying, people. And enjoy the practice too. Enjoy the practice. That's me saying that. That's me saying
that. Great.
So what here can we share with the listeners and the watchers? Is there anything here that they can get for free, or how can they contact you?
Absolutely. Yeah. You can sign up for the newsletter. And as soon as you sign up for the newsletter, that will it'll send little articles, things that are going on right now that are current, either medically or things that are happening to celebrities or something that's interesting. So, but you sign up for the newsletter, and right away you'll get taken to your free meditation. That is a 20-minute relaxing fertility meditation, and you can start that right away.
Nice.
And it's yours.
Nice. And they can learn more about you here.
Yes, there's the about me. And then when we go to services, there's blog, but then services, there is an assessment call you can do, and you can chat with me for 30 minutes to discuss whether you want to do a session or not, because sometimes this emotional piece isn't what we've always heard about. We always hear about IVF, the medical, the the other stuff. So nutrition. So this is a new piece. It's gaining much more traction now, but when I started, it was really pretty brand new. So you can have a chat with me, or you can go ahead and book right away. I do alignment sessions too, because sometimes, as I said, I see energy, feel energy, and the blocks are blocks. It tends to always somehow relate in some way to, either you're a mother and you're experiencing some difficulties, or you're someone who's thinking about a family at some point or something like that. But it doesn't necessarily have to be fertility right away.
Okay, great.
And then the retreats. So I'm going to be doing an online retreat, and that's just a way to open it up. So it's under services.
Oh, it's under services.
Yeah, if you just go down again. Yeah, and see the schedule a session, then get pregnant retreat.
Oh, here, sorry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can do that online session, and that's 8 people together, 2 days, Zoom. And so it's accessible to people all over, everywhere in the world. It's Eastern Standard Time, but it's recorded, and then you can keep that as well.
Nice. And of course, people can chat with you here.
Yes.
They can contact you here.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, have a look here. So yes, so wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
And of
And
course, follow you on Instagram and Facebook. Yes.
please do. And I just started working in a clinic as well. So if you go down a little bit, you'll say Tuesdays and Fridays. If you're in Toronto or visiting
Oh,
Toronto, you can also see me there.
oh, nice. I like this. So if persons are passing by, they can come and check you live.
Absolutely.
This
Yes,
is
please.
wonderful, wonderful. So great. I love this. So thank you so much, Joanna. I mean, continue doing the work that you do because I know you love when people get pregnant.
I do. And having babies, I love it. I
Yes,
do.
and I saw on your website, I mean, I saw on your website a lovely little baby crawling across the screen. Here he is, you see his screen. I just love babies. They're so edible. Oh my God. Watch it.
Yeah, they
Look
are.
at her. Look at her. Crawling across. They are so edible. They just have the nicest, chubbiest, edible cheeks and feet. Their toes are so tiny, their fingers. Oh my God, don't get me started, Joanna. I love them. I love them. I
Yeah.
love them. Look at them. Look, look. Oh. They are just so sweet. I go crazy for babies. Oh, I go crazy for them. It's when they get older is the problem. When they get older. Yes, I think we need to have a session on that. As they reach a certain age, what do we do with them to get rid of them? You know, we just keep them when they're babies.
Yeah, there's more to learn then. That's your trigger point. That's your trigger point.
Thank you for identifying that, Joanna. Really. I just want to keep them as babies, and then when they start to give trouble, hand them over. Who do they belong to? Hand them over. Yes. My class is over. Class is finished. I've already finished learning my lesson. Next.
I'm sure.
Yes, thank you so much, Joanna. This
Thank
has
you.
been awesome. Thank you for sharing. I
Yeah.
really appreciate the work that you're doing and for, creating the opportunities and bringing love to people's lives because we know that to be able to help another human being and to be around another human being, I think the love that exists in that situation and in that relationship is beyond any other love that you can ever find. It's unconditional love, which I believe in. I don't know about conditional love. I only know about unconditional love. And to be able to bring a child into the world and raise that child, it's totally unconditional love in my book. Yes, thank you so much for the work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.